Good morning.
Good morning.
Look at your neighbor and say, it's good to be alive. Say, I love you. Not a thing you can do about it. Then say, I love you, but I also like you. That's a big one, isn't it? All right, Isaiah 61 says, arise and shine, for your light has come. That's past tense. And the glory, or the kabod, of the Lord has risen upon you. It's already a done deal. The glory's on you, in you, available to you. I like what the Amplified says. It says, arise from the depression and the prostration in which circumstances have kept you. Rise to a new life, shine, be radiant with the glory, or the kabod of the Lord. For your light has come and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you. How many of y'all know what a self-imposed prison is? It's a prison door that the door's not even locked. You put yourself in there and really it's not locked. All you got to do is just walk out of it. Sometimes we get into this gloom and doom and this depression and this spirit of heaviness, and we don't have to do that, you know. Positionally, we are free, okay, and sometimes we just have to acknowledge that we've put ourselves. It's you know, we have to walk out of it. No one can do it for you. It's you put yourself in a prison that's self-imposed. And so, I don't know about you, but I'm too blessed to be depressed. We got too much to be thankful for, man, to sit around and be depressed. I know we got stuff. We all got stuff. And some of it a little more severe than others. But for the most part, you know, we're here, we're alive, we're blessed, we're going to heaven. You know, we're going to be in eternity. We're children of God. We've got hope. So yeah, there's things we could be depressed about, but today let's set aside that depression. Let's put on the spirit of, instead of the spirit of heaviness, put off the spirit of heaviness. Let's put on the spirit. Let's let the shine. Y'all know what the shine is, right? The shine is what Moses brought down from the mountain, being in the presence of God. One of the things I pray every day is that the actual physical imprint or shine of the glory of the Lord would be on my physical body. I mean, why not? It was on Moses, and I've seen it on people. I'd like it to be on me. I'd like to walk into a room and people say, oh man, what is that on you? And they know it's something different, something supernatural, something that is not of me, but it's just there because I've been in the presence of the Lord. Spending time on the mountain, coming down and being successful in the valley and showing, you know, the Bible says, let our light shine before men in such a way they can see our good works and represent God and be a good role model. Amen? So the glory of the Lord is upon us, so let's rise and let's let it shine and let you shine out of the bag today. All right. Special guest here I want to recognize today, old jewel from the Devil's Junk Pile. I think you were about the fourth person in Liberty Lodge. Sixth or seventh? Okay. Well, let me let you just, why don't you just share for a second. This is Ken Bridges. I haven't seen him in years.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I come to Dublin in '84. I was 22. Wound up here in Thomasville and went to the lodge and hung out there for about 20 years. Needless to say, I'm fortunate and blessed. I'm still here. Dublin was a learning experience, and going through the lodge, of course, I was hard-headed and had to go out and learn the hard way still. But God planted seeds back then over 30 years ago, and they're just now starting to sprout here the past 8. And I'm very blessed for that. Grateful. Glad to be here.
All right. You're here by divine appointment. I think Somebody needs to hear that. Anybody ever been hard-headed before? I still hear my dad. Hard-headed, 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 stiff-necked. Huh? I was going to say if we could take that same hard-headed attitude and flip it and use it against the devil, then we know how to do it wrong, right? Amen. Turn with me real quick this morning. We're gonna dive into the Word today. Okay, we're gonna be in it, just like my boy Elroy dove into my Word, my little student of the Scripture. He's in life support right now. So, anyway. Exodus 33:12. I read this a little bit last week. We're going to be camping out on Moses. Moses perhaps was the greatest prophet ever. So what a role model. And to look at, he was a man that knew how to do it wrong. Was a man given to anger. Let his anger get the best of him and murdered somebody. Imagine that. God flipped it around and turned him into the most meekest, most humble man on the face of the earth. God spoke with him face to face, man to man, as one speaks to a friend. Imagine that. How many would like God to show up and speak with you face to face? Well, there's a price to pay for that. We're going to talk about that today, the price that we have to pay to be able to be friends with God and to have that kind of intimacy where God will talk to you face to face like a man to man. Moses said to the people, then Moses said back to the Lord, you say to me, bring up this people because you're with me, and let me know, but you haven't let me know who you're going to send with me. Moreover, you have said that I have known you by name, and you have also found favor in my sight. Now therefore, if all that is true, and I'm all that, I pray that if I have truly found favor in your sight, let me know your ways. What are your standards? What are your principles? What is it that you require of me? What is the standard that I need to maintain? Why? So that I can know you better. I know you pretty good now, but I want to know you even more, so that I may find favor, even more favor. You find favor on earth when you've earned it from in heaven. People say, oh, I want respect. Well, you earn respect in heaven. You'll have no problem getting respect here. Okay? Verse 14, he says, and he said, my presence shall go with you, and I will give you rest. Prior to this is a little strange because Moses had come down and was burned. God was angry. Moses came down and saw everybody in debauchery. Moses was angry. And God hadn't figured out what he's going to do with everybody. But he said, go ahead and go on up to Canaan. You go ahead and run on your own. You've been running on your own. That's what you want. Go ahead and go on up there. See how it works for you. But my presence is not going to go. I will not go up in your midst. My presence will not go with you. Then he basically said, well, give me some time to think about it, what I'm going to do with you people. And he called them hardheads. He called them obstinate, which means hard-headed and rebellious and defiant people, stiff-necked. We all been there. We all done that. So apparently the jury's out still, and now all of a sudden God sort of starts changing his mind. Now he says, okay, my presence is going to go with you. Not with the people. He said, my presence is going to go with you. Maybe not everybody else, but Moses is probably going to praise God, Moses said back to him pretty boldly, so, well, if your presence is not going with us, then we're not going anywhere. You say go up there without us and do your thing, but that's crazy. That's insane. There's no way we could go do what you've called us to do without your presence upon us. So if your presence doesn't go, we're not going anywhere. I love that. Isn't that the way a man to man talks face to face with respect? They say, hey, your presence to me is the most important key to my entire life. If I can't have your presence, then I have nothing. It's a good lesson to learn, isn't it? For how then can it be known or recognized from all the people, the general population, that I've found favor in your sight? If I don't have your presence, then how are people going to recognize the shine, the glory, the dark, the work that you've done in our friendship? How will people know that? And he says, is not your going with us so that we and I, your people, may be distinguished, set apart, differentiated from the people of the world? One of the distinguishing marks that sets us apart from everybody else on this planet, one is, we have God's presence about us, and it should be shining through us and reflecting and then showing in our good deeds. People that want to know who God is. I mean, the thing that sets me apart or whatever is that I'm different. I'm not like the rest of the world. I talk not like the world. I'm in the world, but I'm not of the world. I should be different in my talk and my walk and everything about me should be different from what we see on this planet. That's how people would say, hey, I don't know what it is, but that guy is doing something different. And I want in on what he's doing because I see it not only physically in him, but I see it in his walk. Not in his talk, but in his walk. The Lord said to Moses, I will also do this thing which you've asked for. You have found favor in my sight. I have known you by name. And then Moses gets real bold here. He says, Lord, I pray, show me your glory. Show me your glory. The Shekinah, Kabod glory. The glory there is the essence of the brilliance, the beauty, the majesty, the essence of all of who God is, all of his glorious attributes. And it's the word weighty or fullness or heaviness. It's not just a little bit. I want to see the fullness. I want to see the full manifestation. Lord, I want to see it all. Show me that. Show it to me. Let me see the full weight. Let it come upon me. I just love this. And he said, I myself, the Lord responds back, he says, okay, all right, I got you. I'm going to allow all my goodness to pass before you. And as I'm doing, I'm going to proclaim the name of the Lord before you. I will be gracious to you, whom I will be gracious. I will show compassion on whom I show compassion. But he said, but you cannot see my face, for no man can see my face and live. When we start seeing the fullness and the full weight of God's glory, bottom line, God can't allow us to. First of all, we couldn't handle it. When we even start, we should be on our face. People talk about, when the revival comes and people will be laughing and falling around. It might be when the true revival comes and God shows up, you're going to be on your face. We won't even be able to move. We won't even be able to look up. We'll be in the presence of God. We can't even. Can you imagine if he says, if I allowed you to see the whole show, you'd be a dead man. And then in verse 21, he says, then the Lord said, behold, there is a place by me, close by, and if you will go out and stand there on the rock, then it will come about that while my glory, the fullness of who I am passes by, that I'm going to give you a little peek into it in the cleft of the rock and cover my hand over your eyes as I pass by. I will take my hand away as I pass by, and I'll let you see my backside, but my face you shall not see. So the Lord said, so be ready in the morning. We're gonna have a little showtime. So be ready in the morning. Come up in the morning to Mount Sinai and present yourself there to me on the top of the mountain, but no man is to come up with you. So he got up early in the morning and he went up to Mount Sinai as the Lord had commanded. He took 2 of the tablets of stone, and the Lord descended in the cloud and stood there with him. As Moses called upon the name of the Lord passed by him in front of him and proclaimed as he was going by, I am compassionate. I am gracious. I am slow to anger, abounding in loving kindness and truth. I keep loving kindness for thousands. I'm the type of person who forgives iniquity and transgressions and sins, yet I will by no means leave the guilty unpunished. visiting the iniquity of your fathers on the children and the children to the third and fourth generations. And Moses made no haste, and he fell to the ground, and he bowed low and worshiped in homage towards God. So, he allows them to, he passes by, he puts his hand over him, and he allows him to look at his back. And as he's going, and he describes himself, I'm gracious, I'm compassionate, I'm full of mercy, I'm kind. He describes him, the first level of who he is. God's a God of grace. He's a God of mercy. He wants to go easy. He wants to forgive you. That's the kind of God we have. Praise God. That's what he's all about. Now, if you want to keep playing with God and keep distracting and keep playing Russian roulette, your bullet's going to come up and there's going to be a judgment. Make no mistake. You keep, God shows his glory and you don't manifest it accurately. You abuse that. Okay, then there's a time where he's going to also stand up in judgment, and God's not going to share his glory. But when he starts doing things friend to friend, there's this trust there that requires reciprocation. Okay, friends are friends. I'm friends with Jack. She don't go out there and throw me under the bus. I don't throw her under the bus. We're friends. Okay, and if I trust her with certain things, or she trusts me with certain things, and I go out there and do that, that trust is broken. And then she's going to stand up in a type of judgment, and because that's what she should do. That ain't going to work when we're friends. Okay, that's not the way this is. So it's a joint participation between us and God. I was up in the mountain, and I had been to Pearl Mountain. I had been at the falls, and I went up through the woods to Grandmama's house. We'll go climbing through vines and bushes way up to the mountain, to the upper falls, which is way up. I don't even think anybody hardly knows where it is. So I've got my stick, I got my Bible. I'm going to spend a day looking for the presence of God. And all of a sudden I get down there and there's a man sitting in my spot. On my rock, in my spot, middle of nowhere. So my goals are blocked. So anyway, I go on up and sit down and have my little pity party, and I'm thinking about going up and throat punching this guy. Not really. And then all of a sudden I started thinking, man, I am up here in the middle of nowhere, and this guy shows up and he's playing a guitar, his back to me. I'm going, maybe that could be one of them angels there that shows up in a person. And I started thinking, wow, I'm about to go throat punch an angel. Not good. So I kept thinking, well, I'm just going to close my eyes, Lord, and if that's really an angel, then let me look up, and he's gone, disappeared. That'll show me. So I looked to one eye, he's still there. Prayed some more. I looked again, he's still there. So he's raining on my parade, nothing big's happening. And after a few minutes, I just forgot about that, and I just stopped and just whatever. I just went into the presence of the Lord and not expecting nothing, and I looked up and he was gone. But I turned to the right and I saw this backside of this guy going through the mountain. Okay? And he didn't just vanish, but he was gone when I looked. But then I looked and I said, well, Lord, that's kind of not what I want. I wanted to kind of go back and say, yeah, I saw an angel. Well, in words, he said, you're not ready for my glory, son. You got a lot of things that need to be worked out, character issues. There's nothing more that I would like to do than to show you the fullness, the full weight of my glory. And that's what I would love to do. We've come a long ways. I've shown you some things. I'm going to let you see a little by the backside, which you ain't seen nothing yet. But there's a price to pay to see God's glory. Okay, you gotta get up out of the self-imposed prison. You got to get up to Mount Sinai. You got to go to the mountain. You got to spend time with God in his presence, being transformed, being changed, paying the price. If it was easy, everybody would do it. But it costs you your life to really. Moses spent 40 years in Egypt, and another 40 years in the desert, nothing going on that we know of for 40 years. Think about that. Every day getting up, going out and faithful, being about God's business. And all of a sudden one day God says, come on up to the mountain, and he saw a burning bush. And his life was changed and transformed. Okay? Well, the prophetic word we've been talking about is the amount of time you spend on the mountain, the quality time that you spend in the presence will determine how effective you're going to be in the valley. So anyway, today we're going to do something a little different. Well, we're not ready. I'm not ready for the fullness of His glory, but I'm going to get ready. You know what I'm saying? That's no excuse. God's kind of playing possum with me to see if I'll come after it or not. So I don't know about you, but I want to get in on the full. I want to be wrecked. I want to be in a car wreck with God. I want to be reckoned. I want to be changed. I want to have that. I mean, to be honest with you, that's the only thing I'm really looking forward to in life. Is I gave up on certain. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter anymore. All I really want to do is spend the rest of my life finishing strong, being in the presence of God, being transformed, so that when the trumpet is sounded and I go into the presence of the Lord, I go in saying, "Yeah, well done, good and faithful servant. That's my boy." I don't want to go up there with a hangover. I don't want to go up there. I want to finish strong. I don't want to be disqualified. I want to enter into God's gates. So today we're going to do a little something different. We're going to play 3 songs now. We're going to bask. We're going to soak. So let's all bow our heads. We're just going to spend 3 songs now, a little different, and we're just going to spend some time soaking in God's presence, praying for the fullness of the Lord. I'm going to have the men come forwards for the morning offering. 3 things we do during the offering. We take up the offering. That's good. We need that. Everybody needs that. But more importantly than that is, this is the time for this altar to be open for ministry. If you need ministry, just come. It's a time to pray for me and the Word, so the Word will not return void. And the third thing is to soak, is to be in His presence and be transformed and changed. So let's just, whatever God wants to do, take your shoes off, walk around, whatever you want to do. Let's just get into the presence of God and enjoy Him. Amen. Lord, show us your glory. Revelations 2:7 says, "He who has ears to hear, let him hear what the Spirit is saying." How many want to hear what the Spirit is having to say today? To you individually and corporately, hopefully. I've spent enough time with the Lord to hear. Some people say, "Oh, Pastor Dave, you were speaking right to me." Well, I was just, I'm not saying I haven't had people in mind at times, but trust me, I hope it's for all of us. So if the shoe fits, wear it. I hope it stings. I hope it edifies. I hope it hits home. I mean, we're wasting our time. 1 Peter 2:19. I think that's right. It says we have, past tense, we have this prophetic word, this rhema word spoken, and it's made sure, it's made even firmer. It's being driven like a peg in a firm place. It's being driven into our heart further and further. To which you will do well to pay attention to it, or you're very wise. If you will, if God's speaking, you better pay attention to it, and you be wise to pay attention to it. Don't disregard what God's saying, like the children of Israel who were too hard-headed and stiff-necked to receive it, and they ended up going out into the wilderness for 40 years, going around the mountain. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of that. So we have this prophetic word, and it's smart if we pay attention to it and listen really, but really listen to it. Listen to the depth of what it's saying. We can hear with our ears, but listening is a matter of the heart. As a lamp shining in a dark place until the day dawns, the morning star rises in your hearts or breaks through. A prophetic word is, how many know God is in heaven? He's here. And He's speaking. If you're a born-again Christian, God is speaking to you. He's speaking to me. He's speaking to the church. He's trying to convey a prophetic word. A prophetic word is God's heart, God's desire, intentions. But how many know God can desire all kinds of good things for us, and we can blow it, can't we? Because we're too hard-headed or not ready, or we don't want to listen, and selective hearing. And so prophetic words are God is speaking, but we have to cooperate. We have to have a joint participation. We have to put it in place. There was a prophetic word that was given to me back, I think I was 21 years old. That God spoke to me. I believe He was calling me into full-time ministry then, but I had too much of an agenda, not time. So I didn't. I disregarded His word, and you know what? It wasn't until 20 some years later, 38, at the bottom of the barrel, addicted, lost everything I had, basically homeless, ruined everything. I finally tapped out and said, okay, I'm ready to listen. And God started speaking, just as like He never had. So finally I decided to participate in what God was saying. So God has got a prophetic word. It's sure, it's true. He's trying to drive it down in your heart. That prophetic word is a lighthouse or a beacon. A beacon is, you're offshore, you can't see where you're going, and you find the lighthouse. The lighthouse will guide you into the channel. That's what it's there for. You can be lost and confused, but okay, there it is. Just follow this, trust the beacon. God is a beacon. He's our lighthouse. We need to trust Him. He knows what we're doing. We may not see what's on the left or the right, but keep your eyes on the prize. And keep that prophetic word in your heart. If God has said something to you, okay, I know today God has said things to me that don't look like they're ever going to happen. I don't understand why He gave them, what He did, or why then. I don't know. That's really none of my business. I believe He spoke the prophetic word, and if I do, He did. I need to hang on to that. It's not okay for me to make it a cold case, throw the gavel down and say, case closed, file it. No, you don't have the right to do that. If God's spoken something to you, it may never happen. But seeing if it does is going to be one amazing adventure if it does happen. Amen? So either way, God has put things in your heart that maybe you're lonely, maybe you need somebody, maybe your marriage needs, whatever it is. We've all got that, right? There's things that God has spoken, and we need to hang on to them. We need to let them drop from our head down into our heart and make it more sure. We need to let it work down until we see the breakthrough. And if it doesn't happen, so what? God knows what's best. God's doing what is best, and we need to let that lamp be shining in a dark. We're in a very dark world, dark place, but we don't have to be. We can be uncertain without having to be insecure. We can be very uncertain about what's going down without being insecure about it. Why? Because I'm tapped out. Okay, I'm in a win-win situation. I may not get certain things that I want, but God knows best. It don't get no better than that. The day I tapped out, the day it became way, way easier, because I just say, Lord, what do you want me to do? Me and Him don't fight. We don't wrestle anymore for the most part. I like to gripe every now and then, but for the most part, that's done. That our relationship's different. It's like whatever you say, Lord. You're the boss. That makes it so much more fun. When you get to that place and God's ready to take you into places that are exceedingly abundantly more than you could ever ask or think or dream of. So the prophetic word that God has been trying to say is get up on the mountain, spend quality time on the mountain, and that will determine your level of success down in the valley. We say, Pastor Dave, we don't got no mountains in Florida. Got a big hill in Cocoa, but that's about it. A mountain's not a mountain. That's not what we're talking. We're talking about wherever. Find a quiet place, a closet, a place at the river, a place on a tree, whatever. Find a place that's just between you and God alone. Get up early, get out of bed, go to the mountain. Get into the presence of God. Let God transform you. Let God change you. Let God make love to you. Have a love encounter every day. And then come down to the mountain and go to work. I always like to say it's one-stop shopping. He is our sole source. He is our sustenance. It's all in the vine. He says, I am the vine, you're the branch. If the branch abides in the vine, you'll be fruitful. If it doesn't, you'll dry up and wither away. If you stay vitally connected, you'll flow in the Spirit. Life will be easier. You'll work smarter, not harder. But if you want to work harder, that's all right too. Then go ahead and try to do it on your own. I've learned that don't work, and I don't want that. I've learned the key is to abide in the vine, and He has one-stop shopping. If I'm ate up with resentment towards somebody or pride or I'm full of lust or whatever I got going, I can bring it straight to the vine and He can make it no better. If I need joy, He'll give me joy. If He needs peace, He'll give me peace. Everything I need is one stop. I don't even need to, I talk to people and engage, but man, I need to go straight to the throne room. And then whatever is going on, I lay it at His feet, turn it over to Him, and then I go down and go get to work. Instead of getting a wishbone, get some backbone. And, so first and foremost, your job is to get to the mountain, do what you need. And then it's His job to take care of you, protect you. Miss Ruby, before she died, I went to get her blessing. I don't know if you know Miss Ruby, she had just turned 100. Been with me changing my diaper since I was a baby. And I went and God told me to go see Miss Ruby. And I said, well, maybe go see Miss Ruby right now. So I went to see Miss Ruby right now, right then, that day. And glad I did, because she died not too long after. And I was able to pray for her. And she prophesied. She said, you know what she prophesied? She says, David, God is taking good care of David. And I was like, come on, give me a little bit more than that. And she leaned up out of that chair. She looked at me and says, God is taking good care of David Cox. No worries. That word, that's all I needed to know. That word just pierced. It was straight. It was God speaking through her. Her last blessing on me is, hey, God's got this, man. He is taking good care of you. What you're praying for might not be good for you. If it's good for you, if it's meant to be, it will be. God will take care of that. But God's taking care of you. What that said to me is that I have entered into a place with God where we have a good, and I don't have to worry. God told me here a couple years ago that don't worry about money no more. I said, well, I ain't exactly got. He said, don't worry about money. He says, you've been faithful. I've watched your tithes every week. Right in that, I've watched your tithes. Why would I not take care of you? Well, but my health, well, whatever. Nothing's too difficult. In other words, God just said, quit worrying about anything. Spend time on the valley, go down to it doesn't go to seminary, don't go to Bible. It's real simple. Every person in here has the same privilege. The veil's been torn. You can enter into the holy mountain, Mount Zion, spend time in the presence of God and expect God to take care of you. Pretty good deal, isn't it? Turn with me this morning. We'll talk about time on the mountain, or part 2. I want to call it the temple, or not the temple, the tent of God, exploits. Exodus 33, let's go back there where I was just at. God is calling us to spend time on the mountain and get to the tent of the meeting, the tent is not a physical tent, it's a place between you and Him. It's a secret place, a hidden place, but just between you and Him. And He wants to do exploits. Exploits means He wants to take ordinary people to do extraordinary things. You may say, well, I'm a nobody, I'm an alcoholic, whatever. God likes people like you. If you're ready, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter where you got education, a degree, or felonies, or abortions, or divorces. You're qualified. Okay? Whatever. God likes ordinary people. People that are humble, people that are broken, people that have come to the end of themselves, people that know they're nothing, they're nobodies without Him. God's searching. He's looking for people like that to sign up. Like the Marine Corps, He's looking for a few good men and women that He wants to show Himself strong on behalf of those who are ready and willing to do it. And it might be, so I'm a housewife, or I'm work at Synergy, I'm a nobody, I sweep floors, whatever. Doesn't matter. I told Butch one day, any old Bush will do, wasn't it? Moses went up to the mountain, it wasn't like this is a holy bush or this is holy ground. God said, the place you're standing is on the holy ground. Why was it holy ground? Because Moses was standing on the ground. It wasn't that God made that ground holy because of who Moses was. God showed up in a burning bush, well, let's go get that bush. No, it wasn't the bush. God can find any old bush. Ain't that right, Carter? God can use any old body if you're ready. God's not looking for perfect people. He's looking for people that are perfectly willing to say, whatever, Lord, pick me, pick me, pick me. God is recruiting. He's like the Marine Corps. Who's ready? Who wants to go? Who wants to be used by God? He'll pick anybody that's ready, whose heart is completely His. So, anyway, where are we at? Where are we at? Exodus 33. Let's back up to verse 7 of 33. Like I said earlier, Moses went up on the mountain. He was excited, receiving prophetic words from God, direction and guidance for him, for his people. He was excited. He's running down from the mountain. He had the shine. He had the glory on him. People, and then all of a sudden he heard this commotion going on of dancing and singing, and then he saw a bunch of debauchery, a bunch of dancing around an idol, a golden calf, and Moses' anger burned, and he threw the tablets down and smashed them. That was a holy anger. So that's where God said, look, these people are hard heads. They're not getting it. If they've not seen the bread fall out of heaven, if they've not seen quail called in from the north, if they've not seen the rock open up, if they haven't seen the fact that their shoes haven't worn out and how God blessed them leaving Israel or leaving Egypt when all the Egyptians gave them all their stuff. Think about that. Here they're getting ready to go with nothing. God puts it on the heart of the enemy, the Egyptians, to give them their jewels, their money, their whatever, and to give them things, clothes that wouldn't wear out, and to equip them. That's a no explanation other than a God thing. So anyway, he comes down, and that's when we see the whole thing about how, I'm not going to go with your presence. Moses intercedes. But prior to that, it says in verse 7, it says, now Moses used to take the tent and pitch it outside the camp, a good distance from the camp. And he called it the tent of meeting. And everyone who sought the Lord would go out of the tent of meeting, which was outside the camp. And it came about that whenever Moses went out to that tent, that all the people would arise and stand, each at the entrance of his tent, and gaze after Moses until he entered the tent. Whenever Moses entered the tent, the pillar of cloud, the Shekinah glory, the kabod would descend upon him and stand at the entrance of the tent, and the Lord would speak with Moses face to face. And when all the people saw the pillar of cloud standing at the entrance of the tent, the people would arise, worship, hit the ground at the entrance of their tent. This tent here was Moses' tent. It's his own tent. He used to take it outside the camp, far away from the camp. And those who were serious of the camp would come out of their tents. Word would get around, it's showtime. The Shekinah show, let's call it. They would come out and stand at their entrance, and they would watch Moses go into the tent, and he would stop at the tent, and they would see the glory, the kabod, the fullness, the presence of God fall on them. Can you imagine the fireworks show, And then he would go in, but he would leave the tent open. Apparently people could still gaze in and see what was going down. And when they saw this, they hit the ground in worship. Now, why would Moses need to pitch his tent outside the camp, far away from everybody? Okay? How many know you don't throw your pearls before the swine? The secret things of the Lord. Okay? Moses came down with his best. Can you imagine? He was probably running down. Man, I was in God's presence. I got commandments. I'm so excited. I know I've been gone 40 days. And he's so excited to share to the fatherhood aspect. He's coming down and he sees debauchery, worldliness, worshiping, dancing. His anger rose up in him, a holy anger. Praise God. So whatever, things settle down and God's deciding what he wants to do. So Moses, I'm sure, the camp was the camp. It was what it was. There's good and there's bad, there's whatever. But to make sure, Moses needed to consecrate himself. He needed to separate himself. He needed to get away from the worldliness and that influence that would impair and impede with his spiritual progress. These people messed up his joy. They come down and, okay, I brought it down. You didn't want it. He went over actually and said, oh, those that are for me or for the Lord stand here. Those that are not. And the ground opened up and swallowed a whole bunch of them. So I don't know, but why were there only a few people that came out of their tent? What were the rest of them doing? They heard the same stories they did, but apparently they didn't care. They didn't care about godly things. Their mind wasn't set and bent on the things of God. They were into worldliness. Oh yeah, and so they're playing golf or going to whatever they're doing. But there was a group within the group. That's called a remnant. The true church. I hate to say it today, but this church has, say, 50 people, and not everybody in here is a part of the remnant. Hear what I'm saying? It doesn't mean you're not a Christian. It doesn't mean you're going to hell. It just means so far you haven't proven yourself that you're serious about God. Some of you guys, hearing me now, will not listen and you'll leave. Okay, and that'll be on you. We had one that had been with us over a year. We just walked out the other day. I go, how stupid is this? This guy knows. This guy's seen. This guy's, he knows. He's heard me preach. He just walked right out like it was no big deal. That scares the fire out of me. Anyway, it doesn't matter. A remnant is a group within a group. The true church is a group of people within a church that are the true church, the true serious remnant of God. The remnant refers to a fragment or a piece of a bigger piece of cloth. You lay the carpet, you've heard me say that. What's left over are some scraps. That's called the remnant. You go out to battle and everybody's gung-ho, but only a few of them come back. Some desert, some go different, some come back faithful. Yeah, I'm still standing. Devil tried to tell, I'm still standing. He tried to get me. I went on my weekend pass, but he didn't get me. He tried, but no, I'm still standing. Those are the people that God can build around. Okay? Those are the people that God wants to show His glory. God is searching for a remnant, a group of people that are done with all that. They're done with low living and mediocrity, and they're wanting more. There's a divine dissatisfaction. They want to go to a new level. They want God's glory. They want to experience Him more than anything else. So Moses had to consecrate himself. How many know the Bible says we're called to be holy like He's is holy? 1 Peter 1:5-16 or something. We're called. Not a recommendation, not a suggestion. We're called to be holy just like God is holy. God is holy. You want to know what the standard is for your life? He's holy. He's different. He's set apart. There's nothing like Him. He is holy. He's the essence, the glory. One-stop shop in area. That's the role model. We're called to be holy. You're called to be holy. That doesn't mean sleeping with your girlfriend. Doesn't mean you watching pornography. That doesn't mean you doing this under the cuff and being, no, you're called to be at a different standard just like He is holy in all your behavior. The word behavior means your conduct, your way of life, how you order your life. It means it's a choice. We are holy positionally, but we have to consecrate, which is a choice. The priests were consecrated. That means they made a choice to become priests. They entered into a lifetime call of being separated, being different than all the common people. I mean, we're all priests unto the Lord. You may not wear a priesthood, but we're all, if you're born again, you've been called to be holy in all of your conduct, all of your behavior, and to be priests unto the Lord. That means your first responsibility is to serve and minister to that relationship. I tell Lance, your first call next to your relationship with God is your wife. And then the next one is right next to you. And then it's all the rest of us knuckleheads. Are you with me? Barbara, your first call is to the Lord. You can't do all God's called you to do for all these years and not be connected to the Lord. After that, your job is to continue doing what you're doing. First and foremost, our lives are to be separated. We're to be different. The problem in the church today is there's no distinguishing mark. Remember I talked about the distinguishing mark? That mark that people look at and says, oh, that used to be an ordinary drunk there or a crackhead, and but something happened to them. They begin to recognize the disciples as having been with Jesus and realize, what's up? These are a bunch of untrained goofballs, and now they've been with Jesus. They've been with Jesus. So God has called us to be separated. He's called us to be different. He's called us to the church is, like I said, there's no distinguishing mark. The church is no different than the rest of the world as the big church, the common church. Holiness and sin, and there's no, God's standard, there's no preaching of righteousness as a general. I don't see the magnitude. I'm sure it is out there. But there's not a preaching of God's standard and His holiness, and sin is oopsie daisies. Oh, God loves you, God forgives you, you're as righteous as Jesus Christ, and don't worry, and that's true. But it ain't okay. It's true, but it ain't, it's okay to sin. But it ain't okay to sin. It's okay, but if you use that as a loophole to do what you want to do, then shame on you. We're not under law, we're under grace. Now your sin is greater than your sin before, because now it's not a sin against the law, it's a sin against your lover. You just hurt the person that loves you more than anybody else by cheating on them for whatever you're doing. Whenever you sin, you're cheating on God. Whenever you sin, you are abusing and being a narcissist, abusive towards the person that loves you the most. My friends, things ought not be this way. 2 Corinthians 4:7 says that but we have this treasure, priceless, precious treasure. So that, why do we have this treasure? In earthen vessels. Everybody pinch yourself. This is an earthen vessel. This is dust, flesh, sarks. It's just a carton, a spacesuit that God indwells. I've been given, for whatever reason, because I've been born again, not because I deserved it, just because of whose I am, not because of who I am. God has given me this treasure, the Holy Spirit, the divine light of the gospel, the kabod, the power, the dunamis, the authority, and He's placed it within me, a frail and human vessel of earth, so that the power of God, the surpassing greatness of that power, the grandeur and exceeding greatness will be shown or be recognized as being from Him and not myself. How many know God wants to show off through you? Matthew, you're getting ready to go walk it out, baby. I'm excited. You done it right. Well done. I'm proud of you. Me and Lance were talking today. You're kind of like a poster child for us. It doesn't happen too often. But you're going to go out there and God's going to show off through you. He wants to show off through you. You were homeless, weren't you? On the street. And now you were homeless, and wow, full circle. You think God's smiling? You think God's happy? You think God has chosen an ordinary homeless man, the meth addict, needles in your arm, and He's chosen you and He's been showing off here, and now He wants to, as far as I'm concerned, if you were the only one, it had been worth it. I don't say that to toot your horn. I say that to help everybody else. To put no pressure on you, by the way. But you better walk this out, or me and Lance are going to come get you. Your mama gave me $100 to make sure of it. So, just kidding. So anyway, we have this treasure because this Holy Spirit that wants to show off. It's got nothing to do with you. All you are is an earthen vessel. You're a nobody. But it's not who you are. It's whose you are. It's who lives in you. Doesn't matter what your body look like, whether you're smart or not smart, or you got felonies or abortions. None of that all really matters. You're an earthen vessel just like the rest of it. Billy Graham was an earthen vessel. Okay? Smith Wigglesworth was an earthen vessel. I'm an earthen vessel. I came up here one day, I was a nobody, and God began to do a work in me, and I surrendered, I tapped out, and I humbled myself, and God has been slowly, progressively doing a little shining, doing a little work, and hopefully it's been caught by me and reflecting to you, and hopefully you guys get out there and can do something with my life. First Corinthians 1:26 through 29 says, consider or reflect upon your calling. I just said what you're called, to be holy, right? Okay. Well, let's consider that. Let's spend some time chewing on that fact, Jack. Consider your calling, brethren, that amongst you there was not many wise guys, according to the flesh. There were not many mighty. There were not many noble. But God, the type of God who is something we need. God has chosen the foolish things. How many of you have been foolish before? Of the world to shame the wise, and He has chosen, the word means deliberately chosen, handpicked. He just didn't randomly, no, He deliberately looked and he searched for somebody whose heart, and He says, I'll take that one, and I'll take that one, and I'll take that one. Heaven looks down and says, yeah, but they were a crack addict. Yeah, but they've been divorced 5 times. They've had 6 abortions. You know, they're not wise. They're not noble. They haven't got it, you know. God has said, consider your calling regardless of who you've been and what you've done. God has chosen not the smart alecks, not that He doesn't, not the seminary graduates, not the people that know Greek and Hebrew, not the lawyers, not the doctors, not that they're excluded, but primarily God has chosen nobodies. Nobodies, just like us. Addicts, drug addicts, sexual addicts, messes, people like that. God loves to get a hold of people. There are earthen vessels in their pot, but they're crackpots. But how many know the light can't shine through a clay pot unless it's got a couple cracks in it? Think about that. A vessel of clay is, you put a light in it. What good is that? Light can't get out. You put the top, there's no light can reflect. It's got to have a few cracks. The light of the gospel, the doxa of the glory, the kabod of glory, the power, all the one-stop, the same God that Moses stood in holy ground that everybody else was terror, that same God lives inside of you. It's been placed in an earthen vessel, nobody. And God can take the cracks. Matter of fact, there's a word for that in pottery and art where they take something that has been cracked, that's a beautiful piece, and they put wax on it to make it look like it. Okay, it's a type of filler to make it look like it's been fixed, but it's not the real stuff. You know, we've got cracks in us, but God is taking, and allowing that light, those messes to shine forth through us. And the base things of the world and the despised, that means the people that they look down on. Oh, you're just that recovery pastor. Who are you? You didn't go to seminary. You didn't do that. You were, you're not really a pastor, look down on us. Oh, you're just a crackhead. You're just this. You're a nobody. I mean, you hear things in your head like that sometimes. But God has chosen the things that are not, that the world voted on, a bunch of jewels from the devil's junk pile. They saw it as junk, but God saw you as a jewel. He began to polish you up so that no man would be able to boast before God. For some reason or whatever, our humility, our brokenness, when we don't think we're wise, when our level of brokenness, our brokenness determines our level of usefulness. Are you with me? Your level of decrease determines the increase. Your brokenness determines your level of release of the Spirit, the reflection, the amount is your level of brokenness. You see a wise person that's all educated, for some reason they have a hard time humbling themselves. They see a rich man, they have a hard time humbling themselves. You see this. But people like us, we know we're a mess. We know we're nobodies. We ain't got no problem. That's me. Yep, I'm no bad. I love blowing pastors away at these meetings, and I stand up and say crazy stuff, and I go, wait, I'm just speaking, Anyway. God is searching. 2 Chronicles 16:9 says that the eyes of the Lord move to and fro throughout the land, looking for those whose hearts are completely His. That was 2 Chronicles 16:9. That was written in the Old Testament. Everything in the Old Testament is for us, correct? So what that still says to me is that God's eyes are in heaven. He's looking around, moving to and fro. He just went through Park Avenue Baptist and Jeremy's church and New Life, and now he's sweeping through here this morning. The Bible says that his eyes move, they run throughout the earth. He ain't just saying, well, let me go check. No, he's running. There's a sense of urgency. He's looking. Time is of the essence. We're in difficult time. God is searching for trustworthy, faithful, reliable people that won't compromise, that will preach God's standard, that will stand up in the middle and say, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. I love the homosexual, but God hates the homosexuality. Are you with me? God loves you. Maybe living with your, that's between you and God, but it's not okay. And it says that God's eyes are looking. He's running, looking for those whose hearts are His. Or the Amplified says that He may show Himself strong on behalf of those whose hearts are ready. God's not looking for perfect people. He's looking for people that are perfectly willing. So, Pastor, say Jesus, when He showed up here this morning, He may come and say, how about, I said, well, Lord, I got felonies, or, I've had abortions, or I've been here, why would you, I'm a nobody. But if I'll just stand up and say, pick me, pick me, pick me. How many know the squeaky wheel gets the grace? You may say, I'm a nobody, but Lord, I'm done with that low living. I'm ready, God. Pick me, pick me. You jump out in front of the class like little Johnny and say, pick me, pick me, pick me. I'm not going to shut up until you pick me. Okay, pick you. God likes that tenacity, that word, importunity is the word, where you refuse to take no for an answer. God is like the Marine Corps. He's got his board out. He's in our church right now. Let's say He's searching today. He's speaking through me to you, that He's looking. I don't care what you've done, who you've been, what you're doing. I'm ready. Who wants to sign up? You are perfectly qualified. You qualify. You want to sign up, Jeff? You want to sign up, Matt? Anybody want to sign up? He's searching. 2 Timothy 2 says, therefore, 21 says, therefore, if anyone cleanses himself from these things, we will become vessels of honor, sanctified, useful for the master, prepared for every good work. We're usable. Listen to what the Amplified says. Whoever cleanses himself from what is ignoble and unclean, who separates himself or consecrates himself from contact, contaminating and corrupting influences, will then himself become a vessel set apart, useful for honorable uses, noble purposes, consecrated and profitable to the master, fit and ready for any good work. Folks, we're all qualified. It doesn't matter where you've been, what you've done, okay? God is looking for people that want to go into the mountain, that want to pay that price, to get in His presence, to be transformed, to be changed in humility. Lord, change me, transform me, let me catch your glory, let me represent you well, be a good role model in my quiet time in the mountain, and then to go out into the world every day, up here to Barnes Light or, Walmart or wherever, and to release God's glory. They can say something about that guy, something about that guy, something about that girl. I like that. Hey, where do I sign up? Where did you get? What's up with that? Well, I'll share with you, but it's going to cost you. It's a high price to pay, but it's all there. All you got to do is get to the mountain. Let's close our eyes this morning. We're going to open up this altar for those that are ready to step out, and if you're not, that's fine. I'm just saying you may already have made that. But if you're kind of hearing what I'm saying and your heart's tugging, then come to the altar, come to the mercy seat, come to the mountain. Let's look at this as a mountain. Let's come into the holy place. Let's let God transform us. Let God change us. So when we walk away from this altar today, we've been changed. For we all, with unveiled face, are beholding as in a mirror the glory of the Lord, are being transformed into the same image from glory to glory. He's changing me as from the Lord in one spirit. Amen. Just come get some on us this morning. All right, I hope you've enjoyed your service today. Let's go out there and represent the Lord good. Amen? All right. We'll play one more song on the way out if you want to stay. If not, then we'll be dismissed at this time.